Hello, hello. Anybody who's tuning in, it's so great to have you. Uh, you are watching the official GaryCon live channel, and we are here to play Back Again from the Broken Land. And who am I? Well, I'm Alexi of Cloven Pine Games, and I'm excited to be running this game because I'm one of the creators of Back Again from the Broken Land, along with my wife, Leah Labresco Sargent, a wonderful creator in her own right. So, credit where it is due. This is part of the programming for GaryCon 14. GaryCon is a convention held in honor of Gary Gygax, one of the creators of D&D. And GaryCon has a number of sponsors that we need to thank here at the beginning. The title sponsor is Ultra Pro, and the product sponsor is Hero Forge. In addition, there are sponsors like the Crafty Gamer, Dwarven Forge, Steam Forged Games, Level Up Dice, Idle Champions, and Warriors of Waterdeep. So many thanks to all of those folks who are making GaryCon and its programming possible. All right, so what is Back Again from the Broken Land? Back Again from the Broken Land is a tabletop role-playing game about small adventurers who walked into a big war, and now they are making their way home after the downfall of the terrible Doomslord, and they are telling stories, sharing meals, and grappling with burdens along the way. It is a short Powered by the Apocalypse game meant to be played in 1 to 3 sessions, and it is inspired by the emotional or even bittersweet stretches of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. What else do we need to know? I think those are the basics of Back Again from the Broken Land, right? These are small adventurers, and what we're going to do is see their journey home and hear some stories of their previous adventure. So we get the chance to kind of backfill a epic journey while also seeing the, emotional scenes of the characters reflecting on everything that has transpired. Let's meet the wonderful players who will be taking this game for a spin with me this evening. So I will ask everyone to introduce themselves, maybe share your pronouns if you wish, online handle if you so desire, anything you would like to plug to folks. I guess I should start off also by saying I'm Alexi, he, him, and you can follow all of my gaming endeavors online at Cloven Pine Games. So Brianna, will you tell us about yourself next?
Sure. My name is Brianna Beard. I'm the business development manager for Frog God Games, who I think is actually at GaryCon right now. My pronouns are she, her, and I am on Twitch as Unlikely Beard.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us to play this game. Mike, you're up next. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Mike Ferdinando. My pronouns are he, him. Probably the best way to find me online would be on Twitter, where I'm at Mike Ferdinando. Helps when you join Twitter the year it launched. I've been playing tabletop role-playing games for a very long time. I started back in the 80s. I've played a lot of, played D&D for a long time. I played a lot of GURPS. I've played a lot of Pathfinder. I played some Call of Cthulhu. But in 2015, I fell into the deep end of the indie games pool. And when I played the game Dungeon World, which introduced me to Powered by the Apocalypse games. And indie games, especially Powered by the Apocalypse, really meshed very, very well with my GM style. Especially the last couple of years I've been playing Pathfinder, I found the rules kind of fought the way I liked to play. And then when I found PBTA games, that I just felt synergy with the rules. And it's kind of been no going back. And that's mostly what I play. I GM a lot with the Gauntlet online gaming community. I'm also a not infrequent game with a GM with the Magpie Games community.
Wonderful. And it is great to have you playing with us tonight, Mike. Cow, you're up next. Tell us a little about yourself.
Hello, I am Cow Shea. I'm from Seattle, Washington. I work at a high school out here, and my gaming credentials are a little less, although I do enjoy running the Dungeons and Dragons group here at the school and trying to convince them to play Powered by the Apocalypse games or, Scum and Villainy or something. So far to no success at all. But I'm excited to be here. I'm around on the internet as Cowshay on whatever social media you enjoy, probably. Unless it's one I haven't joined and it's an imposter Cowshay. But, I mean, you
Cow,
might as well follow them.
you should plug your Letterboxd.
Oh, yeah. But definitely Letterboxd is my favorite website. I frequently call it the only good website. It's just a movie review site like Goodreads, but if it worked better. And I'm there a lot, coming up with lists of movies that are usually just two movies that I compare in dumb ways, because that's how my brain works.
We're going to need an example.
Well, the one today that someone actually passed along to me, but I still thought was really funny, was the comparison between Ratatouille and Venom as a movie about a gross little creature that takes over a down on his luck bachelor's body to get the food that he enjoys, and their friendship blooms as they try and oppose a corporate bigwig who is trying to separate them from controlling each other's bodies and being friends. So yeah, Ratatouille and Venom, basically the same movie.
It's when you put it like that, it makes such perfect sense. It's kind of disturbing. Cow, thank you so much for joining us to play. Ken, please, last but not least, Ken, tell us about yourself.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Ken Breeze. My pronouns are he, him. You can find me on Twitter at Burlingsbeard. I am a TTRPG producer, narrative designer, and for hire GM in the New York City area. I'm currently working with a clinical psychiatrist to provide therapeutic game groups for teens. And I'm also working with a educational not-for-profit called DreamYard in producing a 10-week modular after-school campaign based in the Cypher system done by Monty Cook Games, if you're familiar with them. I also co-hosted a podcast called Board Ghost that was all about diceless and GM-less indie RPGs. Check that out if you get a chance. I'm super excited to play this game tonight. I love Lord of the Rings. I love The Hobbit. I'm super excited to play as a Hobbit, not TM, obviously.
Right. A non-copyrighted Hobbit-like creature.
Hobbit-like creature. However, that's just the start of it. I can't wait to get into the world building and everything that comes along with this type of game.
Fantastic, wonderful to have you here, Ken. Wonderful to have everybody here. And yes, as Ken alluded to, our players are going to be embodying these small adventurers, these half-sized beings that somehow got involved in this big-sized war. And we are going to do some things to define, what that war was, what that adventure was, before we pick up with their journey home. So, as per the rules of the game, I am going to ask you, the players, to help me set the scene and kind of make some choices about what our backstory is. And for my players, we are playing out of this lovely character keeper in a Google Sheet, very high tech. You can find in the backstory tab the pick lists we're choosing from here. So the war is over, and the Doomslord is defeated. Who was the Doomslord? Brianna, I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you to answer this. So if you would, please choose from our little pick list here of who the Doomslord was. You can roll a dice if you wish, because it is a pick list of 6 options, so easy to randomize, or pick something that excites you for the identity of the Doomslord.
I think I gotta go classic and say that he was a corrupted immortal.
Ooh, the Doomslord was a corrupted immortal. Wonderful. Armies fell against the Doomslord. Powerful magic failed. Your band is nothing compared to both the Doomslord and the forces that opposed him. But the threat was so terrible that you had to do something, however small. Let's ask, what did the Doomslord seek? Mike, will you make a choice or use a randomizer to pick from this list of what the Doomslord sought?
I think since the Doomslord is a corrupted immortal, let's also go classic. I think the Doomslord sought dominion over the world.
Nice. I like this. I like this. Is this something where the Doomslord, felt they deserved dominion over the world just because of their immortal status? Like, were they corrupted and lost dominion they had and are trying to regain it, or is their corruption the fact that he desired to have dominion when originally he was an immortal but not a dominator?
I like that last. I like that last one. I'm imagining that the Doomslord had been. Again, we're kind of going with some classic tropes here, but I'm imagining that the Doomslord was once an immortal that was, perhaps an immortal of perhaps great power, perhaps some kind of a demigod or some other kind of like supernatural semi-divine force, but it wanted more. But the Doomslord wanted more than what the Doomslord had been allotted, and wanted more and wanted more. And when the other forces said no, the Doomslord said yes. See that? Yeah, that's mine now.
Nice. So the Doomslord kind of represents this overweening need to control. I see. Interesting. The Doomslord had many terrible powers. What was the worst of the Doomslord's weapons? Cow, there is a list here as well for what the Doomslord wielded.
I think I'm going to go with magic that strained the fabric of creation.
That's dramatic.
So going off what Mike said, I think that if he was some sort of, divine being of some sort or another, I think as he sort of began this power grab from the other divine beings, like the way the world worked stopped functioning the way that it should, and so there was sort of like a corruption of reality in some way or another, because if his original dominion was a certain thing that he was supposed to be in charge of, the more that he tried to take from the other beings, the more their domains got infected with him and his schemes and ambitions. And so I think the idea that the way in which he was taking over the world might have been a physical thing, but it was also this sort of metaphysical thing that was breaking how things were.
I love this. And this is fantastic because I'm imagining that maybe there were these kind of different immortals that had different purviews, and then the Doomslord is like, no, it's all mine now, and the kind of merging together of purviews, in this kind of overly ambitious fashion created this strain of creation, right? As suddenly all of the elements are being commingled, and the various possible domains of reality have been smashed up together. That was the challenge you faced. You set out together from your home. In your travels, you saw people and lands you had only heard legends of, even some things whose existence had never even been imagined in your small, quiet homeland. Let's ask, what was your hometown characterized by? Ken, would you make a choice here for the hometown
happy
of our
to.
companions?
Happy to, and it's a fantastic sort of a platter, a menu I've been served up with everything that's come before, all these decisions, and sort of I'm really feeling this Doomslord horning in on other immortals portfolios, if you will, the sort of semi-divine feeling that we're talking about. And for me, I mean, the world of Tolkien and the world that we're sort of hearkening back to is very nature-based, is very natural, right? It's all about nature in so many ways, right? And so for me, I start to think about cycles and I start to think about seasons. And so I'm thinking a lot about how this corruption, how this sort of straining of the fabric of creation, the world stopping functioning the way it had originally. To me, that means the seasons stop. So does that mean this immortal is some sort of embodiment of a season of some type, and they're now trying to take over everything? And that to me then really starts to get me into where are we from, and how is this place affected by it? And there are two options that I'm sort of thinking about. And, I would love to get feedback from my fellow players on which option they think they're feeling the most. My first
Please, yeah.
option would be that we are from a land of Aurora Borealis, that we are from huts of whalebone and hide and snow, a wintry home. The other idea I had was to be maybe from a place of vast fields of wheat and warm sun, but sort of a ramshackle sort of cottage life, more a frontier's life, if you will. So those are the two options I'm sort of playing with. Anyone have any ideas?
My instinct is like if you're talking about seasons, I really like the idea of like there's definitely been precursors where there's always winter but never Christmas, but I kind of like the idea of like an eternal autumn or something.
Right.
Hmm.
And so I feel like a more agrarian community that was just trapped in one season, that doesn't work for them, even if it's not on its face as bad as constant blizzards. I like the ominousness of like, yeah, it's always early November.
Yeah, right. And of course, you'd eventually run out of things to harvest if planting time never comes back around. Right, you're just sort of like stuck in this autumnal world. Does that sound good to you, Ken? To other players?
Anyone else have any feedback, thoughts?
As a proud Texan, I have to say staying away from the extreme cold fits me very well.
Very
There we
well.
go.
Then it sounds like large, flat fields of grain and wheat, agrarian society, definitely works through the cycles of nature. It's very important to us. Those changes, the different rituals that come along with the seasonal changes, the different things that we do in our community, the different celebrations that we have. And obviously, we're all more sort of living in not like these, mansions. We're sort of living more in cottages and sort of rustic and like
Oh yeah.
frontiersy. So that's sort of the idea that I'm getting, is a sort of a mythic West or mythic Midwest sort of vibe. It's flat. It's super flat where we are. Big sky.
That's great. I think that's wonderful material to have in mind when we turn to hear stories of home from our adventurers, because that's one of the kind of categories of story the game will prompt you to tell, is a story of home, where you'll look back to this hometown. Wherever you went, you were among the smallest and the humblest of the people who were drawn into the war. Some of the friends you made urged you to turn back, but little as you were, you had an important role to play. You may not be remembered in the stories, but it was what your companions and you did that let the heroes of the day win the final victory. So what was your quiet but crucial quest? Brianna, let's go back round to you. What quest are we going to be picking here from the list of quest options?
That's a good question, because again, they're all very good options. It's like picking one. I might have to roll a die for this one because I don't know if I can actually pick one. Let's see what we got. The 3. Oh, I guess we are restoring a lost crown to its heir to rally the nations against the Doom Lord. I like that. I like that a lot.
Nice. So yeah, tell me about that. Is it just like kind of by happenstance that this crown ended up in the possession of such small creatures as you, and then it became necessary to bring it to the true heir who could rally people against the Doomslord, or was it placed in your out of the way hometown for safekeeping for some reason?
See, I feel as though it was probably placed there, and then perhaps our burglar stumbled upon it completely legally without any sort of like questionable means.
I like that. I like that very much, and I'm excited that we're already seeding the companions we are going to be playing here. Fantastic.
Sorry.
No. That's very good. We now have a sense of at least one of this group. Restoring a lost crown to its heir to rally the nations against the Doomslord. All right, that was your quiet but crucial quest. Now, the laurels are being distributed. The bodies are being buried. Eventually, the earth must be tilled, even here, at the site of the final battle, and new growth brought forth. And indeed, that is only possible because the seasons are being pushed back into alignment. Maybe not all the way back and joined, but the Doomslord has fallen. The cycle can begin to be restored. But although the war is won and the Doomslord defeated, some of his creatures still walk the world. So now let's learn about the hunters. These are the foes that are still out there. And we're going to define a little about what makes them too dangerous to fight. Mike, what makes the hunters too dangerous to fight?
Well, I think going with the themes that we have established, where the Doomslord had taken the various elemental purviews of the other immortals, and that he froze the seasons. I like the idea that the Doomslord's hunters commanded the elements of nature. So perhaps the Doomslord took various elements of nature from the other immortals who rightly commanded them, and then doled them out to his servants to use under the Doomslord's purview. So I think they can command the elements of nature.
Yep, and that would indeed make them too dangerous to fight, especially for very small adventurers like yourselves. We have one more thing we need to know about the hunters, and what makes them too terrifying to face. So they're both too dangerous to fight and too terrifying to face. Cow, if you would you make a selection from the too terrifying to face list?
And you're muted.
It's okay. That was just all the dramatic pause. I think that they, in addition to being able to command the elements, I think they also sort of have this autumnal effect of draining their surroundings of warmth, light, and color. Like that, just when they are near, things begin to die and to fade, like in autumn. It is sort of this after effect, and especially if they're wielding their magic, then everything just starts to curl up and grow brown and rusty and just back to this stasis that the Doomslord desired. And I think that might even apply to nearby people, that you just feel tired and like it's just getting pulled out of you, and like you have nothing warm to look forward to again.
Oh man, it's a good thing the season is turning to spring where I am, or else it would be too depressing to play. It's like, oh no, back into the terrible. Nights are getting longer. Entering winter phase. Very good. Wow, those hunters sound terrifying. I hope we don't run into them.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yes, I am sure it will be fine. All right. Let's hear about the companions now, because we have now figured out this backstory. Right. Sorry. Let me read from my text here, since I'm demoing this game. Despite the dangers, your fellowship must make your way home, carrying with you both the news of the victory and also its costs. You walk together, but each of you bears your own stories and your own burdens. You will need to be swift, keen, and true to make your way back again from the broken land. Boom, title drop. All right. Let's learn about this fellowship. We've learned a little about what you did. You brought this crown. You played this role in the fall of the Doomslord. But who were these companions that did this? I'm going to go in character keeper order now. So Mike, tell me about your character, please.
So Delwyn is he's just a just a really incredibly friendly young fellow who's always there with a gleam in his eye and a smile and a warm handshake. But you might want to keep an eye on his other hand because it might be gone for your purse. He goes by Delwyn. That's constant. His surname that he may drop seems to change depending on who he is introducing himself to. In fact, now that you've all been with him for a while, you're not sure if he's ever used the same surname twice.
So you are the burglar.
Yes.
That is your playbook, and you made some choices from these lists here. An innocent and indignant gaze, a secret pocket full of silver is your gear, and your gift is a simple lock of hair. Very good. Those are things we will kind of start wondering about, but we aren't going to ask follow-up questions about them now, since that is where the later stories might help to fill things in. Anything else we should definitely know about Dalwyn before we meet our next companion, though?
At the moment, no, because I don't know anything. I don't know anything more about Dalwyn. We'll figure it out in play.
That's the way to do it. Absolutely. Then Cal, let me turn to you. Please tell me about your character.
Muted. You're muted, Cal.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Twice in a row. That's embarrassing. All right, let's see if I can make it through the rest of the night without doing that again. Okay, I am playing Mulch Hutter. Mulch is the Wayfinder. That's the playbook I'm playing. And Mulch is, I would say, not a leader of their community, but was an upstanding citizen who everybody knew and trusted, and volunteered for this because he knew he could make his way very well in the world. He has some natural gifts and some unnatural gifts that we'll get into. But he's a friendly guy. I think he's maybe a little older, but still very childlike in the way that he interacts with people. Very trusting, just willing to help out and show people how to get around as best as he can.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I see you've picked gear barefoot, gaze childlike and confident, and gift the song of an unseen bird.
Yep.
Fantastic. Anything else we should know about Mulch?
I have an idea, but I don't know if now's the time to pitch it. So I think we'll just hang on.
We'll hang on to it. Yeah. Oh, and I should say his playbook is the Wayfinder. So next up, Ken, tell us about your character, please.
Yeah, happy to. I am playing as the Stargazer. His name is Lumbar Hollowbold. Lumbar is well known in our community of small folk because he is the owner of an ancient almanac. This is an almanac that speaks of constellations and stars, the sort of movement of those constellations. He was taught about the stars by his old gammy, and he's well known to actually worship the Lady of Stars, Varda. During this journey, he was always seeking one of these elementals or one of these sort of immortals, Elentari, the Star Queen. And so he's got his head in the clouds, like he really does. He is a bit naive, a bit more focused on the sort of lofty, heady goals or ruminations. However, there is a certain mysticism or divinity to his role in the community. And he definitely came along on the journey because he was called to.
Fantastic. Lumbar. That's great, and I'm excited to learn even more about this annotated almanac you've been holding on to. That's your gear. Your gaze is upturned and unworldly, makes sense. And your gift is a pouch filled with the flame of a fallen star. So that'll be exciting to explore eventually. Anything else we should know, or shall we turn to the last of our companions here?
He loves calling out different constellations to people, so get ready for that.
Get ready for some constellations. Oh boy. All right. So, Brianna, you're up next here. Tell us, if you would, about your character.
So I am playing the imposter, which I'm sorry, no, I'm not. My name is Mandy Many Names. Please hold your applause. And much like our burglar, I also have many names that sort of shift depending on the situation, what it calls for, that sort of thing. My cape is not a patchwork quilt. It is a cape, and it is very, very expensive. So please do not touch it. And I have a horse calling spell tattooed on my arm because you never know when you might need a horse.
You never know.
Not that we're going to be running away from anything, not that we're going to be getting any sort of trouble or having mistaken identities, because I am who I say I am, and that's all that matters.
Yes. Well, it's wonderful to meet the imposter, Mandy Many Names, who is definitely genuine. And you've been on this whole quest, so surely everyone has seen you prove you really are this heroic legendary figure with a strikingly colored cape. Lovely. What a great fellowship of characters. I feel like I want to see them on an adventure. I want to have us pick up with these characters on their way home. So in the aftermath of the Doomslord's downfall, we are going to open with our fellowship picking their way through the landscape that has been scarred by the great battle against the Doomslord. And specifically, I am picturing our fellowship moving through what's left of the slag-scarred bastion. And the slag-scarred bastion, of course, is a place that was the site of siege, right, during this great war. And so what I'm going to ask each of you to do is to help me paint the scene by describing how your character is moving through the landscape, and then telling me what is one thing you've heard about a terrible thing done here under the pressure of the Doomslord siege. So everyone's going to get a chance to help paint the scene that way. Let me call on each of our players. I think I'm going to change up this order. So, Mulch, the Wayfinder, I'm turning to you first. Mulch, kind of two prompts here. How do we see you? What's our establishing shot of Mulch? Moving through the landscape surrounding the Slag-scarred bastion, and what's a terrible thing Mulch heard about the siege that took place here?
So first of all, yeah, Mulch is the Wayfinder. So I think Mulch is going first through this destroyed area, and the way that he's moving through the bastion here is again, he's barefoot, and he is sort of walking through this muck, but he's not even taking steps, being careful and lifting his feet out. He's just sliding his feet forward and through the muck. So he's just kind of in it, and I think he's able to sort of sense the terrain and places to avoid here as he's leading people through. Because my idea that I had is if the Doomslord was screwing up the nature of reality, I think that for a time, for as long as the Doomslord has been active, powerful magic has worked less and less well. Like, you know, maybe there used to be wizards and people could control water or, you know, cast spells, but that's worked less and less the more the Doomslord took power. But there was kind of this sliver of the elements that you could still manipulate or sense or have some sort of magical attunement to. And I think mulch is from this magical tradition of, I couldn't think of a good word, just sort of like sludge magic or, you know, mudomancy, where it's like you probably couldn't do anything magical with dirt or water. Those are too powerful. The Doomslord cares about those and wanted to control them. But there's something in the muck where it's like, Doomslord doesn't really care, and that still might be something you can manipulate. So Mulch is by no means like a powerful wizard or anything, but he is kind of attuned to like the gross, slimy bits of the earth. And I don't think he's not an earthbender or anything like that. This is not a powerful thing. It is just he has an affection for the sludge of the world.
That's wonderful. So we've got mulch and kind of and is sort of the answer to like kind of what terrible things have you heard of the Slagscar Bastion? The answer is kind of like, well, as the Doomslord's power grew, people lost the magic they had, and things started to fall apart.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things he's aware of is like maybe the Bastion was supposed to hold because of this powerful magic, and he can tell how it was just corrupted and turned inside out and used against the people that were trying to heroically protect the world from the Doomslord. And so he's able to sense that and sort of the ramifications of the battle here and how people were betrayed and corrupted by the magic that they hoped would save them.
Wow, that's hardcore. All right, Mandy, many names. I want to turn to you. Kind of like what would be the establishing shot of kind of how Mandy is navigating this landscape where we've established there is sludge. There are probably kind of bits of fortification that have been torn asunder. Right. This is the Slagscar Bastion. So tell me a little bit how you're navigating it, and give me a sense of what terrible things you've heard took place here.
Well, Mandy is definitely holding her cape up out of the muck, because even though, yes, you're going to get dirty just walking through this landscape, it's inevitable. At least just don't let the cape drag the ground. It has many striking colors. You don't want those to get all muddled.
Oh, yeah.
What if you need it for a flag or something? Anyway, as far as the walking style, definitely trying to avoid the big puddles of mud, but also maybe just following pretty close behind Mulch, because I feel like Mulch is probably driving, like, getting rid of the muck as he is walking through it.
Sticking in Mulch's wake, yeah. Exactly.
It's gotta keep that in mind. And as far as the terrible things, definitely the hunters have been using their what was it, their powers of, I guess, what was the exact wording again? I must find it. Yes, the draining the surroundings of warmth, light, and color to essentially depress the population into doing their bidding. That's what I've heard, at least.
Nice. So like all kind of like positive emotions were leached out of the people who once defended the Bastion here, and that kind of led to it falling to the Doomslord in the last war. Yeah. That's a terrible thing indeed. All right, so that's kind of on Mandy's mind as she is, making her way through, keeping the cape safe. Then I want to ask our burglar, Dalwyn. What do we get as a sort of first glimpse of Dalwyn in the environs of the Bastion, and what terrible thing has he heard of what happened here?
So I'm imagining as we're sort of approaching the bastion, which I'm imagining is this fortress that the Doomslord had laid siege to. So as we're approaching it, we're going through the just the destroyed and despoiled land around the bastion, which is where the battle was actually fought. I'm seeing Delwyn has kind of gone off to the side from where Lumbar and Mandy had, or I'm sorry, where Mulch and Mandy were leading. He's kind of gone off to the side because he thought he saw something shiny that was glinting in a partially destroyed siege engine. So I think we see him just cautiously approaching this like broken trebuchet and is like just kind of like looking up over it and is looking to see if there's anything useful or interesting here that we could take for our journey.
Sure. Yeah. It's you gotta keep your, it's all about the fellowship, right? Like you're not thinking selfishly
Absolutely.
here. Yeah.
But the terrible thing that happened here is when he's gotten close to this trebuchet, he realizes as he approaches it, I guess when the camera goes on his face, he suddenly takes a step back and his nose wrinkles and he puts his hand over his face because he realizes that this trebuchet is like still dripping with this like foul smelling greenish oil, which he now realizes is some kind of a poison that the Doomslord's forces were trying to throw into the bastion with these siege engines.
Nice.
And once he realizes that this destroyed trebuchet is befouled with this horrific substance, he quickly steps back to rejoin his companions.
Fantastic. And speaking of those companions, let's hear, last but not least, Lumbar. What is the kind of first thing we see of Lumbar?
So Lumbar, right? I mean, we really establish on Lumbar with the dawn. It is dawn right now. We are leaving early in the morning, right? And so it's really sort of tracking down to our fellowship and then pushing in on Lumbar himself. He is clothed in a hooded poncho. He has clodhopper boots. He has a stout staff. But instead, he is very much focused on the fading stars of the night that is just past as the dawn sun is rising, and looking very closely at his tome, and even seeming to have a piece of coal that he is using to like annotate in the tome. He doesn't seem to be paying any attention to anything around him except the tome and the stars that he's looking at. As the sun really starts to rise and the stars fade, he then turns and surveys and then runs to sort of catch up at the end of his group, having been left behind. And he thinks often, looking around at the mud and sort of the slimy sort of landscape, everything's covered and sort of just befouled here. A great battle just took place. Many people perished, obviously, but those larger folks have left with their dead to honor them in other places. What he remembers most, really, is when the air donned the crown during the battle, and torrential squalls and tornadoes were unleashed. That's why it's so muddy here, is that the elemental forces that clashed just very recently yesterday are still affecting this area. And so really he just marvels at the power that was imprinted upon this place. There's a reason that the bastion is slag scarred, the fire. There's a reason that the fortifications have been torn asunder, earthquakes and tornadoes. There's a reason the siege engines have been torn apart and their oil perhaps negated somehow. Though what was unleashed here. And it's finally maybe starting to come back in terms of a natural cycle, and he's thinking about that as he is following his group.
Yeah, absolutely. There. Yeah.
Oh, and he has a rope belt. Sorry.
Absolutely. So the the sludge uh, uh, kind of bears the memories of all these things to Mulch. So like who are kind of connected to the sledge through your bare feet, you feel how the sludge itself kind of seems to be trembling, seems to be like shot through with an anxiety after all of the things that have taken place here. And is it confident that it's ready, it can just settle back into being sludge, or is it going to be transmuted into some other element by the strange forces that roiled the world? um Mandy, a harsh voice calls out from one of these broken bits of fortification, one of these things that have kind of been smashed off of the bastion. The voice says, "You there in the colorful cape!
Oh, well, that must be me. Yes?
State your business. Who are you to walk through this terrible place?"
Why, I'm Mandy Many Names. Perhaps you've heard of me.
There's a kind of non-committal sound.
Or not. That's also possible. I understand. It's a very large place. We are here to. What are we here to do? Actually,
Go home.
we are just trying to go home. Is all. We are simply trying to pass through here. Don't mean to disturb anyone. So sorry that we are inconveniencing you, if that is in fact the case.
Yeah. So there's a pause, and then the voice sounds again. Yes, long ago I had heard of Mandy Many Names, but I heard she was taller.
I sometimes wear stilts. Perhaps you know me as Mandy the Blinkin'.
Hmm. And these people, you vouch for them?
Oh yes. These are my compadres, and we are very good friends. And we will do absolutely no funny business around here. We just simply want to get home. And I will shoot a look at the burglar to make sure the funny business is especially drilled in.
Dalwyn, how do you respond to that?
I just kind of stage whisper. I stage whisper. What do you mean by that?
Well, I don't know. I'm a little anxious right now. Just roll with it. Anyway, yes. If that's all right with you, we will just be on our way unless
Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't even have to come out. Like, you can just stay wherever you are, and
Yeah.
we'll go that way.
You hear like a mechanical ka-chunk noise, like somebody like winding back a crossbow, and the voice says again, "Yes, I have no need to come out, but I don't want to see you taking anything from this field. I have the right to scavenge this place, and no one's going to impinge on that."
What about the mud? Have you claimed all the mud?
Because one way or another, we're going to be taking some of it with us.
I was really thinking about you, Mulch, and your mud collection.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I'm a walking mud collection. I'm taking some whether he wants it or
Yeah,
not.
he's a walking mud collection.
And if I may ask, sir, why do you have the right of salvage here?
Why this used to be my fiefdom, and it will be again. I will gather everything I can and rebuild.
Oh, well, that's nice. That's understandable.
So
And who are you, sir?
there's that kind of like harumph noise again, and the voice says again, "I am Lord Olge Harrowdeep."
Oh, well, it's a pleasure to meet you. You got real good mud. I'll say that much right now. I'm sorry it's had such a tough time. I'll tell you what, though. If you don't mind us passing through, I might be able to help you out here. I know it sounds a little tricky, but I think we can probably help you out. I got insights into some of this stuff, and I would like to. Mulch, his real advantage here is that he has an understanding with wild animals, and I think in Mulch's case specifically, it is gross muck related animals,
like little salamanders and stuff, like things that
I'm thinking like
wiggle through the
salamanders,
mud.
worms, some turtles, frogs, stuff you would find in the mud or muck.
Hmm.
Maybe a hog if he's really lucky, but that's not quite gross enough for him. So I think Mulch is going to. I'm going to roll my move to sort of call out to the worms through the muck to see if they know of anything of note in the muck that we could tell this guy about.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna call for someone to make a move soon, and so this is a cool use of a playbook move here. Wild ways. You have an understanding with wild animals. When you approach an animal with suitable respect in hopes of helping it or getting help from it, tell a story of the journey and roll plus true. So there's a couple steps to this procedure. How are you
Love it.
approaching the worms with suitable respect, Mulch?
I think Mulch actually just sits down in the muck.
This
Like
guy
he
loves
has,
bloodbaths.
yeah, he has no pretensions about this. He doesn't it doesn't register to him as particularly gross. I think in the tradition of the sludge magicians, it was they are the ones who adapted to this horrible eternal autumn, and it's just like, yeah, it's cold and it's dirty and it's what you got to do. So he sits down in the mud and he just kind of reaches out to see if there are any worms nearby who can are willing to talk to him.
Wonderful. And it calls for you to tell a story of the journey. So this could be brief, like a little vignette, but some kind of story from our list of your adventure, right? So to give a sense to viewers, the stories of the journey are a list of prompts that the players were working from. So it's things like how you got that lingering scar, how you lost one of your charges, the gift you were given and how you exhausted it, the seasonal festivity you missed at home while out on this journey, right? So, Mulch, a story of the journey, please, and then we'll have you make this roll.
Yeah. I think that one of the prompts is the irritating habit of a companion that you'll miss at journey's end. And I think this is something that Mulch is dealing with, is that back in their community back home, I think he was, again, sort of like a relatively stand-up citizen. I think the sludge magic was very helpful with everyone enduring this eternal autumn. And so he was kind of like, all right, I'm a big deal around here. I can help people, go on this journey. And I think throughout the course of the journey, he has sort of grown annoyed by / envious of Lumbar's reading of the stars, which just seems more elegant, and I think maybe has come in handy more often than his sort of day-to-day, like, watch out for that, little patch of gravel you might trip on, and so he came on this trip to be the wayfinder, and it has a lot of pride in his abilities, and I think over the course of the journey has been like, yeah, I guess compared to all this grand magic we're seeing, I'm really not that much, and like especially compared to Lumbar and the heavens, it's just like, yeah, I'll keep looking at the mud. I don't mind doing it, but oh boy,
Let's make that roll. So you're rolling 2d6 plus true, which is +1. So that's our roll here.
All right, rolling. Got an 8.
So that is a hit. A partial hit here, where you pick one from this list, right? The creature acts as you want, but you lose a piece of gear in the process. The creature acts as you want, but it attracts unwanted attention. Or the creature doesn't act as you want, but it does something else helpful.
I don't think I have any notable gear, so I think it should be the other two. I'm willing to go with whatever you think fits better.
It's in your hands.
I think in that case, I think maybe the worms do go out and start looking around for things of value, or something to offer to this person who has stopped us. But it is kind of horrifying to see just all these worms just like radiate out through the mud from where Mulch is sitting, and I think it is like deeply upsetting for the guy who was watching us, and he doesn't necessarily know what I'm doing. He just sees all these worms start to crawl out from where I'm sitting.
I see. Yeah. So this is something like the creature acts as you want, but attracts unwanted attention.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. And potentially that can be unwanted attention from things we haven't even seen yet. But yeah. So like the worms and you've got an understanding. So like they're doing their thing, right? Like they are moving through the mud. They are scouting. They are kind of, there's a ripple coming out from where you and your companions are gathered. And I think perhaps we'll take our first break, and when we come back, we'll see more of the fallout from this. So folks, let's take 10 minutes and be back at quarter of the hour, and we'll see more back again from the Broken Land then.
Hey, audience. This is Tony. I'm running tech behind the scenes. You can't see me, not on the screen, but no one's around right now. So I'm going to take advantage to tell you While we're on this break, you should 100% go to ttrpg.link/BA-game, like back again game, which is down in the lower corner right now of the broadcast on the screen. Not right now, but when we've been on stream it is. ttrpg.link/BA-game, and check out the pre-orders for Back Again from the Broken Land, which is going to be fulfilling over the next couple of months. So go check it out at ttrpg.link/BA-game, and we'll be back in just a few moments.
Hey, welcome back or welcome. This is the Gary Con live stream, and we are here playing Back Again from the Broken Land. Back Again from the Broken Land is a game about small adventurers sharing stories on the long walk home from an epic war. So it's like the post game adventure for, say, The Lord of the Rings. We are trying to evoke some of the more meditative, melancholic, bittersweet passages of Tolkien as we tell the story of these small people returning to their hometown after the fall of the Doom's Lord, in which they played a humble but crucial part. And so we did some backstory and character creation and began our game before, and now we're returning from our break to pick it up again. But firstly, thank you again to Gary Con for having us on. It's wonderful to get to play this more indie-leaning game on the Gary Con stream here. Many thanks to all the sponsors of Gary Con, to Ultra Pro, Hero Forge, The Crafty Gamer, Dwarven Forge, Steam Forged Games, Level Up Dice, Idle Champions, and Warriors of Waterdeep. So we're going to pick up where we left off, where our small fellowship, consisting of the burglar Dalwyn, the wayfinder Mulch, the stargazer Lumbar, and the imposter Mandy Many Names, had been picking their way through the ruins of the Slagsguard Bastion when a voice accosted them, someone claiming to be the rightful ruler of what's left of this place, demanding they not take anything from the detritus of battle. And Mulch used his abilities, his kind of his sludge magic, to reach out to the worms and call upon the worms to help, to in fact try and find something to offer to this kind of gruff sounding person who's in a bit of fortification and seems to have maybe a crossbow trained on you as he's demanding you not touch things. So the worms went out, seeking for something to offer. We got this image of our companions all gathered together, and the ground kind of like muddy ground rippling as the worms go out. And so I think, and Mulch rolled a partial success, so we're gonna get something here. In fact, we picked from the move: the creature acts as you want, but it attracts unwanted attention. So here's what happens, right? Our fellowship is waiting to see what the worms uncover, and kind of like bobbing along the ground, you see this bright shining helmet, right? Like a very fancy knight's helm that is clearly being like carried by just surging worms down under the mud, moving it along, right? Kind of like crowd surfing style. The helmet is being drawn towards you, and from the like broken bit of tower, the voice that had identified himself as Lord Old Harrowdeep says, a helmet of one of the Bright Helm Legion. That is a fine piece of salvage. And kind of in response, you hear another voice, someone saying, "Hold, vile creatures! Do not take that helm! You do not deserve it!" As coming out from behind some other piece of rubble, there's a woman. She's wearing the armor of a knight. She has a she's got this large sack she's weighed down by. It seems to be full of these helmets, and she is chasing this helmet that the worms have claimed. She doesn't even address you at first. She's focused just on the worms and this stolen helmet as she is remonstrating with them and kind of lugging her own burden forward to try and take the helmet back from the worms. Mulch, you have brought all of this about, but I'm going to turn to another companion to get a sense of what they do. Let me check in with Dalwyn, our burglar. What do you do as this is unfolding?
Well, I was figuring that while Mulch was like using his sludge magic to summon these worms to go out, I imagine that was taking some amount of time. While while that was going on, Dalwin was kind of like crouching behind. I guess I'm imagining like crouching behind like some piece of broken fortification, watching this, also being wary that this person claiming to be Lord Harrowdeep, would conceivably be training a crossbow on us. And I was just kind of like looking over the situation and just trying to get a sense of what's going on here, and trying to think what I might remember of any stories that I might have heard in this place. So I think I'm kind of like using the gaze into the distance move while that was going on. Can I say that was kind of like while that was going on, just so I can ask a question?
Yeah, that is totally legit. So this is one of the basic moves of our game, gaze into the distance. When you gaze into the distance to search your environment for memory, or search your environment or memory for answers. First, describe what fragment of loveliness in the landscape has caught your eye, then ask one of these questions. What am I overlooking? What do I remember learning about this place or people? How could I make peace here? The GM will answer honestly. So what you have to do first is describe what fragment of loveliness in the landscape has caught your eye, Dalwin.
So I'm imagining that this bastion, before it was severely damaged in this siege, kind of getting like some of the imagery from like the Lord of the Rings movies, where it was just a beautiful like ancient construction that had elaborate. It was very functional, but it also had elaborate carvings of ancient warriors, and just beautiful stonework. And there's a section of the wall that has didn't take a hit and is still this section of the wall. Parts of it are like on one side, and the other like took a massive hit from a siege engine, or a terrible monster ripped something out. But there's one section of the wall that still has this this just ancient this ancient exquisite stonework. And I'm imagining that it's the carving of I imagine that it's kind of like a prominence where maybe there was a battlement that the defenders could hide behind. That battlement was fashioned like the armored head of a knight, and the wall below it was carved like the knight, and just looking at this piece of ancient beauty that's still there, even though the rest of this wall has been destroyed by this great battle that had taken here. So I think that's a piece of beauty that I see in the environment.
I love that. I love that kind of last remnant of what this place once was. Go ahead and ask your question. What do you want to know?
Well, initially I was going to say, what do I remember learning about this place or people? But now that this like woman carrying like pieces of this like Order of Knights armor was coming out and seems to be having an argument with whatever creature claimed to be Lord Harrowdeep, I'm going to ask, how could I make peace here?
Ooh. That is the question, right? Because from everything Lord Harrowdeep was saying, it seems like he thinks anything of value left in this place ought to belong to him, right? And this woman seems very invested in the helms, the Bright Helm Legion helmets here. I think Dalwin, you get the sense that to make peace here, you would have to leave both of these people with the impression that the helmet was out of their grasp permanently, whether destroyed or something, right? Like there isn't an obvious way for them to compromise about it, given Lord Harrowdeep's given how he's invested in having all the things and how she seems invested in this thing in particular. Do you want to ponder that for a moment while I check in with other companions? Nice.
Yeah, why don't I ponder that for a moment?
Let me turn to Mandy Many Names. The woman kind of reaches and kind of grabs this helmet, and for like a moment the worms are like pulling on it, but she is a person and is able to like overpower the worms and grab the helmet back. Lord Old Harrow Deep's voice says like, no, that belongs to me. Get your hands off of it, right? So you can see how the situation is devolving, and I want to know, what do you do?
Well,
For the record, I also think Mulch instinctively looks to Mandy because she is a great hero, and Mulch is like, I was just looking for stuff. I don't know. What should we do? Mandy, you're smart and a hero. Like, you should probably step in here.
Yeah, Mandy Many Names, the legendary hero with the colorful cloak, playbook The Imposter. What do you do?
well, is the woman wearing a helmet that resembles the helmet on the ground by any chance?
Ooh, so she's definitely wearing armor that looks like the helmet on the ground. I don't know that she's still got her own helmet on.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it potentially could be, it looks like it could have come from, and if not the same set, definitely from the same group or legion.
Yeah, that's I'll give you that one for free. Yeah, it seems like she
right.
is. No. I think that's just totally legit as a clarifying question. She is. It seems like she represents this legion and is gathering the lost and fallen pieces of what were once her comrades' arms.
Alrighty. I think I might also gaze into the distance to see if I remember, because something tells me something about her armor looks very familiar to me, but I can't quite place it.
Nice.
In fact, it's entirely possible that she has a sigil that's caught my eye that I just go, hold on a moment. That is a very nice sigil, first of all. And I am one who appreciates the finer things in life, of course.
Nice.
Love a good
Thus,
sigil.
I just, what exactly, do I remember anything? Do I remember learning anything about, or have I seen her or her armor before?
Yeah, cool. What do I remember learning about this place or people? And you've named a fragment of loveliness in the form of this this kind of probably like gold patterned sigil, set into the steel armor. Yeah, the Brighthelm Legion fought valiantly, and the reports were that all of them had fallen in the fight against the Doomslord. So it's it's unexpected to see one of them still up and about, but she clearly has she's clearly seeking to gather what has been left behind by her fallen compatriots, and maybe maybe in your travels you even heard that when a member of the Brighthelm Legion falls, their helm has to be returned to the sacred mount of Varda, the Lady of Stars. And so she's struggling under the weight of this, right? Like she's got this sack that she's filled with these helmets, and it just doesn't look very plausible she's going to be able to carry it out of the Slagsguard Bastion, much less up a mountain anywhere. But she clearly feels this duty, and you have like perhaps heard enough stories to understand why. Does that work for you?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Sure.
Yeah. What do you do?
Oh, I think I might need to take a moment to figure out how we're gonna convince Lord Harrowdeep to let her take those things home with her. Because he doesn't seem like he wants to let them go, but very clearly she is on a mission to take those things with her.
Yeah. Do you say something to her to kind of like give her the sense that you're on her side here?
Hello, hi. I see that you're trying to get. Well, you've already successfully taken the helmet from the worms,
and she's like very assiduously trying to like dust the mud off of it, which is a bit of a fool's errand because everywhere is mud here.
We're just fellow travelers. Do you need any help with anything?
Thank you. This is something I have to do myself. It is a sacred duty, and only a Brighthelm Legionnaire can perform it, and that means only I can perform it. And I will do my duty.
I think I'll share with my pals real quick what I have remembered. That way, we all have the same knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. As you huddle up and share these words. Lumbar, the Stargazer.
Yeah,
What do you do?
Lumbar's sort of caught in the middle of all of this. He is sort of in this hooded poncho with a rope belt. He has stout clodhoppers on. He has sort of this staff that he's holding, and he has this sort of almanac, this tome that he carries around with him as well. And so, the Lord has this crossbow trained on us from the shadows. This knight is coming from behind us, sort of in the middle, looking back and forth. My friends are sort of like trying to figure out what's going on. Mulch is in the dirt, like just on his butt, like hanging out, playing in the mud, which he normally does, often, to be fair.
That's Mulch for you.
Yeah, it's Mulch for you. And Lumbar it sort of is like just sort of taking a step back and getting the sense of all of this. And he says, my lady, sir, knight, my heart breaks for your loss. And your burden. Truly, though, you are blessed to have survived the conflagration. And as he says that to her, he sort of then turns in the direction of the Lord and says, have you no decorum, sir? We are all fellow survivors of this terrible battle. Can you not come out and treat with us as a respectful lord may do in his own lands?
Oh, that's too good. So you are calling out
I'm trying to shame him a little bit. Yes,
Lord Olge Harrowdeep. I would love for you to make a roll for this. Do you
Great.
feel like that's appropriate at this point?
Happily. I wasn't sure which role to make. I mean, I was sort
so
of
the default one is kind of negotiate an obstacle. The sort of like
Yeah.
when you're not sure what role to make, roll negotiate an obstacle. The key is though you have to tell me how you're approaching it. Is this about being swift or keen
Totally.
or true?
So what I am trying to do is form a bond between these survivors of this battle. And I, as a stargazer, am very interested in constellations and their stories and how they might influence or impact those of us who dwell below them, beneath them. And so I would want to refer to a constellation in my sort of storytelling or in my proverb speaking.
Yeah.
I guess that would be maybe a true or a keen. I'm not sure which one.
I can buy this as a plus true roll, right? Like
Right.
trying to form a bond, trying to like create solidarity. That's a plus true roll.
I love it. I got an 11.
All right. So what the move says for there is on a 10 plus, you solve the problem handily. So kind of it seems like the key problem here was the impending altercation, right?
Yes.
So there's like a.
And I refer to Melmamakar, the swordsman of the sky, who is watching over us even now. And that our actions, not only yesterday, but today, will bring us into our destiny tomorrow.
Yeah. And so kind of like as you make this speech, right, as you kind of, call on these fellow survivors to like think of themselves as aligned, you hear kind of like the voice of Lord Olge kind of start to try to interrupt or remonstrate, but you kind of you invoke these high terms, right? These kind of constellations that any educated person in this world has gazed upon and learned the stories of, and so he falters. He doesn't break in, and after you finish speaking, his voice comes again. Very well. Perhaps I will descend. And you hear kind of heavy sounds, and then this kind of like broken tower that he's been speaking from, until now unseen door opens near the base, and an ancient dwarf steps out of it. Right, like he has a pure white beard. And is leaning heavily on a staff that of course sinks into the mud as soon as he steps out, and kind of slung over his back is this kind of massive crossbow with like lots of kind of metal metal work going into it, right? Like a kind of marvel of artifice, this weapon he has, and he steps forward and says, "Yes, the great swordsman looks down on us all, and he saw, among other things, the valor of the Brighthelm Legion. So take your helmets in peace. I will not lay claim to them. But anything else you find," and he like turns, like gesturing with his staff at the four of you companions. "Anything else you find, I must collect it to begin the rebuilding of this bastion." And he gestures with a sort of wildly unrealistic sweep of all of the broken pieces of this that takes in all the broken pieces of this place. And the knight kind of bows her head towards him courteously, but doesn't otherwise address him, because she is still focused on cleaning off this helmet to add to her burden. Let me check with Mulch. Mulch, what are you doing?
So I was going to say, I think if now is a good moment, I think Mulch is going to name a burden.
What's a burden that Mulch has been carrying?
So I think I mentioned before how he had, he's just, Lumbar's been rubbing him the wrong way, just because like his interests and abilities seem to outstrip Mulch's so handily. And I think the burden that he is carrying is that he is envious of all of his companions, like and it has reached a point, for some reason in this moment, this is just where he's like, I can't do anything to actually help people. Like they're all able to like figure things out, and they have skills that they can use, and like here I am like sitting in the mud while they solve this problem and make peace. And so he's just he's kind of annoyed at himself, and he's kind of annoyed at them, but he's just reached this sort of like emotional breaking point of just like, what am I even doing here? Like,
well,
with these people.
You've got to name the burden to eventually clear it. But go ahead and write that down on your character sheet. Envy of your companions. Wow, that is a burden. I think as you're reflecting on that, you feel like a little like nudge next to your foot, and you see that the worms have found something else too. It's this ruby-studded goblet that they seem to have kind of winkled up from out of the mud, and so that is kind of bobbing next to you.
I think in that moment he actually he kind of looks. Mulch looks over towards Dalwyn, just to like, are you seeing this? Should I should I try and grab this? Or
Yeah, Dalwin, if you Mulch makes like significant eye contact, and you can see the little
I will.
goblet itself.
I think I was watching this thing like approach anyway, probably before anyone else had, because it's shiny, even though
It is.
it's covered with like muck. That's clearly something. Yeah, I think I am. Yeah, that's something that Delwyn just really can't resist. So yeah, I think he's going to like walk over as if to and making a show of like putting his arm around his companion, and as if he were as if he were offering him some amount of comfort, and then he's going to surreptitiously pick up the goblet, and he's going to surreptitiously pick up the goblin and stuff it in his pouch.
Oh boy. Well, you are the burglar, and that to me sounds like it falls kind of squarely within what we would expect Dalwyn to be able to do. So, there's no telling what consequences it might have later, but I am not going to make you roll to put a goblet in your pouch. I feel like that is child's play for a burglar of your accomplishments. Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah. So, Drew, let me check back in with Mandy Many Names. The kind of the like conflict has been dissipated, but there's still like it's still like clear to you that both of these people have taken on tasks that they will never be able to achieve. Right? This knight who wants to carry this massive weight of armor from all of her fallen comrades, not only out of this ruined place but up a mountain somewhere. And this old dwarf who thinks, by gathering the small cast-offs of battle, he will somehow rebuild this broken bastion. Of course, you could just go on your merry way, but I'm curious whether you attempt to do anything else.
Well, the worms are already here, and we already know that they can carry a surprising amount of weight. I just don't know how far the mountain would be, or if Mulch even could convince the worms to go that far. That's the only issue I'm seeing as far as the helping people out thing goes. Yeah, I feel like Mandy would just say, they very clearly seem set in their ways, and I don't know how else to change their minds, so I might just allow that just to be.
Okay, yeah. So after ruminating on trying to move these things, with a massive kind of worm caravan, you decide not to propose that. Do you do you have any parting words for these people you've encountered in the midst of the Slagscar Bastion, or is it more just nod and a wave and off you go?
I'd like to give some, I don't know, rousing speech. I can't personally think of one, but I know Mandy got it.
Haha. I mean, you do have a move for when you're in need of a true hero. So if you wanted to roll that move for giving a rousing speech, I feel like that is one of the things a true hero does.
Sure, let's do that.
All right. So when you are in need of a true hero, tell a story of the folk hero the rest have mistaken you for, and roll plus keen. So, imposter, this kind of prompts you to tell a story of Mandy Many Names, and you can use one of the other story prompts if you want to inform this. But it's it is sort of left a little open to you. What sort of story this is. Okay.
Do I roll first or after I tell the
story, then make the roll?
Alrighty. Let me pull up one of the. Would that be a story of a journey or story of home? Does it say?
It is open. So anything that catches your eye, I'm happy for you to go with.
Okie dokie. Let's see.
Well, and especially isn't this potentially a not true story?
That's true. I mean, Mandy would never lie, in theory, at least.
The thing about the imposter is the story might be true, the perspective might be false, right? Like, it might be a real thing that happened, just not to you.
Yeah.
I think Mandy would say something along the lines of this. Dear friends, because I do consider us friends at this point, I know we have just met, you rebuilding your home, you trying to carry everything back from your fallen compadres. I don't know why I keep saying compadres. Compatriots, perhaps, is a better term. I consider us more than friends. Really, we are almost kin at this point. And I just want to give you the parting words of never give up, never surrender. Just keep trying, and you will be able to one day achieve your goals like I did. Me, Mandy Mini Names, the one and the only. The one time that I saved an entire village just by using a sprig of wheat. How? That's too long of a story to tell. We have so many things going on. But I know that if I could do that, you can do it too.
Beautiful. I love this speech. I love the idea of these two kind of broken people pausing to listen to this small person wearing a cape of striking colors, giving them a rousing oration. Roll plus hit, roll plus keen, and we'll see if you can get a hit and find a way to live up to the legend. So that is plus your keen stat, which is +2. So what could go wrong here?
Yeah, probably nothing. Oh, well, I rolled an 8, and so yes, I nailed that, I would say, with the +2.
Can I help with the what's the help move?
Yeah,
Pull
there is
together?
a help move. Pull together. That is when you want to protect a fellow companion from the results of their roll. 2 other members of the fellowship may each take an unnamed burden, and the original companion may re-roll one of their dice. So that is the helping mechanic. It's an interesting one. Let me just double check that I follow where we're at here. So you rolled an 8 on the dice.
Correct.
3 and a 5 with your keen +2. That is a 10. So there isn't a need to help this time, but we'll keep that helping mechanic in mind for the future.
Yes, I should have said a 10 with everything combined.
No worries.
Gotcha. I misunderstood.
On a 10 plus, get all 3 from the list below. Your companions get a golden opportunity to escape peril or win the day. No one notices the inconsistencies in your tale, and you do not need to take on an unnamed burden. So congratulations, you get all 3. If you'd rolled an 8, you would have gotten 2, and then you'd have to decide, which thing is not going to happen from that list, right? Like, are you going to end up taking on burdens, or have people, noticing the holes in your story, or maybe nobody gets a golden opportunity? But you don't have to make that choice on a 10 plus. You are golden here. So I think kind of what we see is this speech seems to buoy the spirits of Lord Olge and of this Lady Knight, and both of them kind of set off for their tasks with some like renewed vigor, right? Like she is making her way through the bastion, weighed down by these helmets, but with a real fire in her eyes, thinking she is definitely going to do this. Mandy Many Names told her so, and Olge is just now kind of just poking through the mud himself, with this staff of his, trying to start collecting the things he needs to rebuild. And you and your companions have the chance to move on, right? Like the sun has truly dawned, the stars have faded from sight, and now in the light of day, you can navigate through the slag-scarred bastion. So kind of, in fact, it's a moment of quiet, a moment to catch your breath. And so I'll check in with my with my whole fellowship here. Is there anyone who wants to, take advantage of this moment to name a burden they have? Is anyone feeling like, proposing that the companions share a meal, or does somebody want to, take charge and chart a course for the fellowship to travel forward to the next site on the journey?
If I may,
Yes, please. Yeah, Dalwin, what are you thinking?
I would like to seeing this exchange and seeing the rousing speech that Many Names gave, and that this gave renewed hope. I'm going to name one of my burdens.
Yeah. What sort of burden does Dalwin carry?
Dalwin carries a burden of cowardice. He is seeing he's seeing this knight who was perhaps the last member of her legion. We thought they had died. Who is dutifully collecting the helms of all of her fallen compatriots to do one final heroic quest, which is going to be, well, shall we say, difficult if not impossible. And this lord of a ruined keep, who is still going to try to rebuild somehow, somewhere, with little to no resources, including a resource that I took away from him.
Yeah, you did that.
I did do that. I'm going to take a burden of cowardice. I'm not, I'm surrounded by heroes, and I am not, and I've always been taking the easy way out.
How do we see kind of Dalwin's outward behavior shift as he kind of confronts that burden, and like gives it a name in his heart here?
I want to see, as we're walking away from the bastion, at one point he pauses and looks back, and he sees, and he does see the knight kind of walking off kind of into the distance, as she's apparently has fulfilled her quest of collecting the helms, and he sees the old dwarf at the top of one of the ruined walls, and he's got a little, he's got a little trowel and some mortar, and he's
oh man, yeah.
he's pasting in a brick. And he just looks at the two of them, and he pulls out this this muddy, bejeweled golden goblet that he stole from that dwarf. He just kind of shakes his head and puts it back in his pack, at least for now.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. I love that moment. Lumbar, stargazer.
Yeah, Lumbar is looking up at the stars and knowing the time is going by real quick. And so he goes on over to his buddy Mulch and puts his arm around him and says, "What does the mud say, Mulch? How can we find our way out of here?"
Yeah. I'll take it. Yeah. I'll
can
take a look.
you find a course? Can you find the way? Or the path?
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I'll take a look around here and see what I can do. And
I don't know how we would have made it through this journey without you, Mulch.
I'm sure you probably would have found a way just fine. But you stay with the rest. I'll go on ahead and try and figure things out. See which way we should head.
Yeah. So Mulch, are you to chart the course?
You sure you want to be alone?
And I think he does kind of shuffle off Lumbar's arm around the shoulder, which and he just kind of strides ahead a few paces. He's not very far away, but just
he's still dealing with that sense of jealousy.
Yeah, he's feeling prickly in the moment. But yeah, if it's all good, I'll go ahead and roll to chart a course as we head out of here.
Yeah, Yeah, do it. Roll. Tell a story of the journey and roll plus keen. So we get to hear another story. Something from the stories of the journey list.
Love it. I'm gonna say the seasonal festivity you missed at home while out on this journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, and I think I'll kind of use this to talk about the other burden that I already had named, which I think is sort of going along with Mulch's complicated feelings about his relationship to his his magic and his community. I think the sludge magicians have been very helpful in recent years, but part of what he's dealing with is that now he knows that magic will start to return to normal, and soon, like the sludge magicians will no longer be necessary or important to their community, most likely, because the other magic has not been accessible or easy for a long time. But now, presumably, as things balance out, like he's dealing with the fact that I will not be as important to the community when I return to it.
Oh man, yeah. Because there
think
were
part
just
of
these
that-
slivers of magic left over after what the Doomslord had stolen. But because the quest is successful, the sludge magicians will stop being so important as other magic comes back.
Yeah, and so I think there was some festival that was like, it was just like this big raucous kind of chaotic festival they had that was like it was something that had developed in recent times with the Doomslord, where it was in the same way that you have like winter solstice celebrations. It was just like, if it's always going to be autumn, then we need to like have demarcation points and things to celebrate. And I think we have hit the time of year where they sort of traditionally had this big festival that was, semi mud centric and just deliberately messy. It's
mud
just
fight, like a mud fight.
a big mud fight. People
Like a
building
mock
mud
battle?
castles, and just like going out in more and more fields no longer had viable crops, and so instead they would just flood them and just have build mud forts and mud sculptures, and just sort of like reveling in like, if this is what we're stuck with, let's try and enjoy it. We don't have a lot, but everyone can spend a day enjoying the mud.
So
And he's just
Mulch
realizing that like
is
no
realizing
one's
that he
gonna
missed
want to do
Mudfest, and maybe the last Mudfest.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly it. Is he missed it, and also he's like, are we even gonna do that next year? Like, we might be able to have like a spring festival in not too long. Like, why is anyone gonna want to do Mudfest again? So
Amazing. Yeah. Please go ahead and roll plus keen as you chart a course forward, Mulch.
all right, rolling. I think I got 4 total.
That's a 4 total, including your keen.
Yep.
Interesting.
So now seems the time, perhaps, to band together, or pull together, as it were.
Yeah, let me just make sure we're aware of the stakes here. So, chart a course. On any hit, you find a way forward. On a miss, you're neck deep in dire difficulty. Perhaps the hunters are even on your tail. So, potentially things are very dicey if this miss result stands. Are other
fun.
companions interested in pulling together, or should we see the like miss play out here? Like, what are we thinking?
Yeah, I think that sounds fun. And it sort of goes along with this Mulch thing where he's like, Mulch got us into hot water again. Like,
Oh,
right?
no.
It's sort of like, if that's the way you're going with the character.
Yeah, totally. Love it.
All right. So we are We are going with the miss result on Charter Course. You're neck deep
Yeah.
in dire difficulty. Perhaps the hunters are even on your tail. Yeah, I think we see the companions. It's sometime later. They've been journeying. Mulch has charted the course, and they're arriving at this next major site. Right, they're stepping out onto the edge of the coral shallows. So you're now moving through this more temperate landscape, sand under your feet, and gently lapping waves, and kind of formations of coral rising up out of the water, and then there's this chill in the air, and some of the brightly colored flowers nearby start to crinkle like autumn leaves withering away, and there's the unmistakable sense of kind of warmth and light being drained away that the approach of the Doomslord's hunters gives. Why don't we take another break here, and when we come back, we'll see what becomes of the companions at this next step of their journey. Let's take 10. Be back at 40 past the hour, and for anyone watching along, remember this is Back Again from the Broken Land. We're excited for you to rejoin us when we return in 10 minutes. Oh, and remember, you can learn more about the game by checking out the link in the corner. That's ttrpg.link/BAgame, and I will drop that into the chat for other folks to check out as well. Hey, anybody watching? Good to have you. We are here playing back again from the Broken Land here on the Con Live channel. Gary Con, a convention held in honor of Gary Gygax, one of the creators of D&D. Back again from the Broken Land, a game about small adventurers sharing stories and grappling with burdens on the long walk home from an epic war. And we are picking up at a dramatic moment when our small adventurers were about to encounter some of the Doomslord's hunters, these terrible foes left over from that great war. At the beginning of the game, we asked some backstory questions and we established some things. We established that the hunters can command the elements of nature. The Doomslord doled out to them the powers he had stolen from the other immortals that he fought against. And the hunters can also drain their surroundings of warmth, light, and color. This kind of autumnal effect of everything turning brown and rusty, going into a sort of stasis. And so, as we left, the companions had, as part of their journey home, traveled through the Slagsguard Bastion and moved on to this place called the Coral Shallows. And they were walking along a sandy beach, listening to the sound of the wind and the waves when there came a chill breeze and a touch of autumn once more in the air, and some of the kind of brightly colored flowers nearby them started to curl and shrivel. Before we get to all that, let me ask for just a little help painting this scene. Mulch, you were the one who charted this course. Tell me, before things turn dark, what's one detail here that makes the watery scenery so soothing as far as the coral shallows go?
I think there's one kind of astonishing thing that maybe this is even why we came down to the beach. Is as things are returning to normal, there's still bizarre weather patterns, and we noticed that at the beach there was an element of weightlessness in the water. So sometimes when the water is splashing up against the coral that's kind of off the shore a little bit, the water would splash against the coral and then the water just hangs in the air for a few moments.
And these water droplets defying gravity.
Yeah, and it's there's small things like this that we've seen in our journeys, I think, but this is one of the first ones that seems entirely pleasant, and it is otherworldly, but delightfully so instead of ominously so. And, maybe that's why we've taken our time on the beach. It's so beautiful there.
Yeah, that makes sense that would be something that Mulch the Wayfinder notices. Let me ask Mandy Many Names, the imposter. What do you notice that clues you in that the hunters are not just in the area but are getting closer fast?
So basically, for lack of better terminology, everything suddenly and slowly begins to become very desaturated. The coral is very brightly colored. It's very beautiful. It's very nice to look at. But suddenly, it's just sort of losing all of the deep richness of the color. All of the reds are going away. All of the maroon it's just suddenly something in the sky that once was so blue is now slowly fading out. And it's just this overwhelming sense of something is wrong, almost like a sense of dread is in the air.
Yeah, absolutely. You might even say a sense of peril.
Exactly.
We are going to turn to the Peril Move. So I'll highlight one mechanical detail of this game. In this game, you have basic moves, as in many Powered by the Apocalypse games. A set of things that characters customarily do that will often trigger die rolls and sort of represent how your characters tend to deal with the world. So there's basic moves like negotiate an obstacle, gaze into the distance, share a meal. sharing a meal, obviously, very important move for people like these. I'm excited to have us share a meal at some point, but you can't share a meal right now, or even negotiate an obstacle or gaze into the distance, because we are no longer looking at those basic homeward bound moves. We are turning to the peril moves because a terrible peril is threatening. And now the moves that are available to you are run, hide, or make a desperate stand. Because there isn't really combat in this game. You are small adventurers, and the things that could threaten you are much bigger. So yeah, we are turning into the kind of peril mode here. And I think as that desaturation takes effect, right, like the colors are drained from everything, it's like there's kind of one point left where all the color has appeared, and that's this column of fire, right? Like uncomfortably close on the beach, right? Like within a like long stone's throw away, this column of fire has plumed up, and kind of there's a crackling sound. And if you keep your wits about you, you see that the sand underneath the column of fire is turning to glass, right? So one of these elemental hunters has made impact. Dalwyn, what do you do?
So seeing this elemental fire like approaching and quickly, there is no way that my short little legs are going to be able to outrun this. So I like look about and look into the cove, and see that there is, that there are some rocks and some like large pieces of coral that are jutting up out of the water. And I just kind of like and without saying anything, so I don't want to draw too much attention, I like gesture, point over there, and I make a beeline over there to try to hide.
Yeah. So that's your plan, is to hide. Let's have you roll for that, Dalwyn. And yeah, I think this. Let me double check. Do other people feel like they're probably hiding with Dalwyn, or should we check in with each companion to see how they're approaching the peril?
No, I think it makes sense, especially if this hunter seems to be blasting fire. I feel like getting closer to the water or in the water, hiding among the coral, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So Dalwyn, go ahead and attempt to hide, and we'll say, if this works well enough, you'll be able to bring most companions with you.
Okay, well, let's give it a try. So my keen is 2, so I'm going to roll 2d6 on the roller, and then I will just add 2 to that. Oh wait, we can put a.
Yeah, there's a modifier.
We can put a modifier on it. Okay,
yeah.
There we are.
Yeah, roll with your modifier, +2. Oh dear.
Oof. Oh dear.
Is that really a 3 total?
It looks like it didn't. Looks like it didn't add the modifier. I must have not done that right.
All right.
So that's a 5, but that's still a 5.
Yeah. With the modifier, it's a 5, which is still a miss. So the answer. So the move says, on a miss, you give yourself away and are in grave danger. So I think as you make your run, make your little beeline towards the water, there's just like it's like a sigh comes up from the water, and it's all the heat of the water has been pulled away, right? Like, so like a wave of heat passes right in front of you. You feel, you feel the heat on your face, like an intense blast of sunlight, right? And like the heat from the water, it's like pulled over towards this, this fiery column where the hunter is. So the water is now frozen over. There is nowhere to hide. And the hunter now is like visible, right? Like they're surrounded by this nimbus of flame, but now you can see something of the form of the hunter itself. And we hadn't described anything about the hunter's physical appearance, but what I'm picturing, based on the way we talked about the Doomslord and the Doomslord's envy, is that the Doomslord has made these hunters out of broken statues of the other immortals that the Doomslord was stealing power from. So you see this thing that like should be a like kind of like beautiful noble statue, but it's riven with cracks, and now like has like flame playing over its surface, and it is walking with implacable strides over the beach. And Dalwyn is like brought to a halt right in front of this this like iced over wave, and is the one closest to the hunter as it approaches. Let me check on the other companions. What do you want to do? Lumbar, the Stargazer, I'll ask you.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, if this is the case, Lumbar, of course, was traveling with the group here in the Coral Shallows. Temperate, beautiful waves, beautiful pink and red maroon coral formations. This hanging, gravity-defying mist, and really that mist in the sunlight, hanging there like stars, really made an impact on him. The sun feeling much like the sun of our homeland, the amber fields. And just really getting like, oh my God, we're going home. Like we're doing it.
Yeah.
And then this terribleness descends upon us. His first instinct is to run and hide, or rather to hide as well, and to hide in the water. But as he starts to make his way towards it, that ice is over.
Yeah.
And there's this column of fire that's resolving into this broken statue of a deposed immortal. And with his staff, he gets in front of his friend Dalwyn, and sets his staff down in the sand. And instead of fleeing, he turns his eyes to the heavens. And calls upon his goddess, the Varda, the Lady of the Stars, to protect
the Lady of the Stars. So this is your special Stargazer move, I take it.
It is, yes. It is cast eye to heaven, to the heavens.
Yeah. Look to the skies for inspiration or intervention. Roll plus keen. You're certainly looking for some intervention here.
I got
what did you roll?
A 7.
Oh, nice. All right. On a hit, a light from above shows you the way, granting fleeting but real protection to you and your companions. So you're definitely getting something from this, right? On a 7 to 9 choose, the way is clear but leads into different dangers or challenges. Or the way is strange or confusing, bringing bad memories to the surface. Take an unnamed burden as you puzzle it out. What would you choose from between those
probably
two?
The first one, where we are escaping onto the ice.
Oh yeah.
We're moving on to the ice, and perhaps the creatures of the deep or the creatures of the shore begin to emerge. Perhaps there are others that dwell in this place that have remained hidden. But the idea is that instead of now on the sand and on the land, we're really getting out onto the ice, or even onto the coral, or into the sea, something like that.
I think I've got the perfect thought here, right? Like you call on the lady, and there's suddenly this light shining down, right? And it reflects off of the ice, right? And like creates this glare, and then like the hunter who'd been approaching with these stony steps like seems to like hesitate and like draw back in the gleam of this ice glare, right? This snow blindness, right? And that's the opening you need to then like charge onto the ice.
Come on,
right?
Dalwyn! As I sort of grab him by the upper arm, he's sort of like in his cowardly state, perhaps, and I'm like dragging him along.
Well, at some point, you start slipping and sliding because it's ice that you're moving over. Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think we'll see kind of like where that path is taking you. Mulch, are you going after these companions? What's your plan here?
Oh, you're muted.
Oh, dang it! Third time's the charm. Okay. I think Mulch is once again sort of caught in this position of like not feeling like he knows how to contribute, and I think like I don't think this is a good call that is actually helpful, but I think he sees if Mandy you are running out onto the ice as well. Mulch makes this split-second call where he's like, well, I'm going to be even less helpful on the ice. So he heads further inland, like to look for a creek or a river bed where, because like that's where he is comfortable. He feels like he might be able to hide, because out on the ice there's no sludge for him to he feels like that's his only advantage, the only way he can contribute, and so he just heads inland to look for some muddy inlet or mud flat or creek or something.
Oh man, that sounds like we might be splitting the party. Do you think this qualifies as rolling to hide for Mulch? Should we turn to the dice to see a little bit of like can Mulch
Sure.
find a place like this to be undetected by the hunters?
Sure, yeah, sounds good. I'm going to roll 2d6 plus my keen, which is 1. Rolling that now. Got an 8 total.
Nice. Sure. So 7 to 9. So on any hit, you're hidden and overhear something interesting. So I'm gonna give you that in a minute. On a 7 to 9, the GM chooses 1. Your hiding spot is insecure. You can't stay there long, or someone else is already in your hiding spot. It's 100% going to be the latter. I think. So we're going to get in a minute. We're going to get something of Mulch encountering whoever else has also like taken to these inlets to avoid the peril of the hunters. Yeah. So in fact, if it's all right, we'll like put a pin in that, and then we'll circle back around to follow up with Mulch. But let's see the other 3. You're slipping and sliding over the ice, just moving fast away from this hunter. Mandy, many names. Any details you want to add about this? About this flight, right?
Luckily, my boots I had recently replaced the tread, so I'm actually not sliding too bad.
Nice. I love it. Cool as a cucumber. That Mandy many names. And the ice, leads you to a ship, a ship that's kind of partially covered in coral, but seaworthy enough that it's floating here, and you're not going to look a gift ship in the mouth as you scramble aboard, and presumably just start trying to figure out how to get this ship moving away from.
I'll use my staff to get in there and push us away.
Yeah, pushing off from the ice. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love this. So we've got 3 companions aboard this ship. In the distance you see the angry fire of the hunter flaring, but it seems whatever intervention Lumbar called for was enough to hold them back long enough for you to get aboard.
And looking around, I noticed we are down one of our fellowship as I turn back to the shore and just cry, Mulch! Mulch! Not seeing him, worried about him.
Yeah, Dalwyn, what do you do?
I thought he was right behind us.
I thought he was too. Let's try to get away from this guy, and then we will circle back and grab Mulch, because he can't have gotten too far. None of us have long legs.
Well, where's the mud? He's at the mud. I know it.
Here, when we get away from this guy who's very clearly not super happy with us being out here, I'll just call a horse. We'll go find him that way. It'll be easier. I got
Where
this
could
neat-
Mulch have where could Mulch have gone? Where could Mulch have gone? And oh, okay. I have to use I want to use my something of a collector move and
Oh, pulled something out here.
pull something.
Ah.
I want to pull something out here to try to find where Mulch has gone. And we're on a ship, so I think this might be good. So tell a story of the journey and then roll plus keen. Do I name the object that I want first, or do I how does that work?
Yeah. So when you could really use a small piece of gear, tell a story of the journey and roll plus keen. It feels like you can name the object at the outset, or
Okay.
or as you roll, if that feels more
Okay.
exciting.
So I just want to say that I have it, and then we'll see. I'll tell the story. I'll say that I have it, and then I'll tell the story of where I got it, and then we'll roll to see how well it works. If that's okay.
Yeah, indeed.
And
I mean, that's the
I
way
was
this move works, right? Like even on a miss, you've got the object, but it's somehow found a way to betray you.
got it. So I pull out of my pack a brass spyglass, which seems appropriate since we're on a boat. And I'm looking at the spy. I'm looking through the spyglass at the shore, trying to figure out where Mulch is hiding.
Nice.
Story from the journey. Or alternately, you can substitute one of your playbook stories for those, correct? If you wish.
Yes, yeah. Your playbook stories are kind of things you can turn to, whenever you're prompted for a story, you can be like, I want to use one of my playbook stories here.
So yeah, I'm going to use one of my playbook stories here. So the story is, so while we were on the battlefield while we were at one of the battles before we had returned the crown to the rightful heir, we were, oh yeah, I like this. We were on another boat and we were going across a lake at night while terrible fighting was going on. And there was, the Doomslord's forces summoned some kind of horrific monster that got on board, and there was a fight, and the captain of this boat, was bravely defending the other members of the crew against this monster, but succeeded, but took a mortal wound. And as he was dying, I want to say Dalwyn was there, like tending to the captain as he was dying, trying to bring him about, or at least give him some comfort. And when the captain died, because he wasn't able to save him, Dalwyn liberated the captain's spyglass because it might come in handy at some point in the future.
I love that. Make a roll plus keen to
Let's hope this one goes better.
to see how this goes. You've got this
I
small
believe
piece
in you.
of gear. The question is just kind of what impact it's going to have.
Okay, well, I'm just going to hit the 2d6, and I'll have to. I can't figure out. I don't know this dice roller. I can't quite figure out how to add the. Oh wait, I can do it up here. 2d6 plus 2.
Looks like you
an
rolled.
8.
Yeah.
So I got an 8 total.
Nice. That means you've somehow come into possession of just such a useful object during your travels. Isn't that fortunate? So yeah, you've got that spyglass. Absolutely. On a 7 to 9, there's been a misunderstanding of some sort. Surely nothing that couldn't be cleared up. But the original owner believes you stole the item and has ways to cause problems for you. I love that you've specified that the original owner is dead here, right? Because I think what that means is, as you look through this spyglass, you kind of are, tracking, you see get a sense of where Mulch is. You're picking up some evidence Mulch left behind him, let's say. So you don't see Mulch immediately, but you see some telltale signs that could point you to where you might need to bring the ship to try and recover Mulch. But then these like things start like swimming into your field of vision, and it's like kind of ghostly ships, and you like take the spyglass down, rub your eyes, you don't see anything, you look through the spyglass again, more ghostly ships. There is a sort of haunting presence to this stolen spyglass, and kind of
Dead pirate captain pirate stolen sea glass is bad news.
It seems that the ghosts of the water, you're like seeing the ghosts of the waters, and perhaps they're even seeing you as you look through this thing, because this somewhat ill-gotten spyglass has a memory for how it was taken. Does that work for you?
Absolutely, I love that. I have a haunted spyglass.
You should have saged it first.
Beautiful, but we'll say that the three of you on your ship are going to be able to find your way towards Mulch. You just might have some additional obstacles that arguably you've brought upon yourselves. But let me check in with Mulch now. Mulch, you successfully hid. And you hid in this little creek, right? This like rivulet, and what you overhear is the like sort of strange, confused speech of the hunter, like it's talking to itself, and like talking in sort of a broken voice, right? Like it sounds like a strange echo coming from the many kind of broken bits of statue that compose its body, right? And it's saying, all wrong, not supposed to go. The time of the immortals was meant to turn and turn again, but now who will rule the seasons? Who will hold the reins? And it seems kind of clearly distressed and confused and angry. But that is something you overhear, and I hope something interesting. Does that work for you? As you're hidden and overhear something interesting?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, for me at least, the implication there is that the Doomslord did also have a correct place. It was meant to be part of the world, and I really enjoy perhaps the implication that all right, we successfully defeated the Doomslord, and now whatever his original purview was, that might not work anymore. I don't know if that's exactly what the thing is saying, but I like that implication.
It's hard to parse exactly what this hunter is saying, but I love that being the idea that's kind of planted in Mulch's mind here, and kind of it's only after you like kind of are able to catch your breath and realize that the hunter has moved on a little bit that you kind of fully look around this this little creek where you're hiding, and you realize there's someone else there. They blend in with the rocks because they're just covered in these earth toned kind of shawls and scarves, but there is this kind of hunched bundled figure who's kind of got a gnarled hand holding a long stick that she is just poking into the water at nothing in particular. And you between the scarves and the shawls, you see kind of unexpectedly shiny eyes kind of turned towards you as she says, "Oh, well, someone's come to share my little creek."
Oh, my apologies, ma'am. There's boy, I've had a heck of a day, and there was a big flaming thing. I'm sure you saw it coming through. I thought it was gonna come for me or my friends. I do apologize for stomping on into your home.
Such as it is. You know, once I lived in grander accommodations, but these past few years have been trying for us all.
Oh boy, you're telling me, sister. I mean, yeah, boy, howdy. I really don't. I don't mean to interrupt your situation here, but I'm glad that we both made it through that okay. Can I do anything to repay you for your hospitality here?
He says, "Oh, aren't you a polite young man? I've been here with very little in the way of company for a long time. Would you stay for a bit and perhaps share a meal with me?"
Well, heck yeah. My name is my name is Mulch Hutter, and I ain't never turned down a meal. I'm glad to be here with you. Listen, I got bread. It's kind of dirty. I got some sort of jerky. I think it's venison jerky. I'm not sure. I'm not much of a chef or jerky identifier type of guy, but it's all right. It's also a little bit dirty, but more than happy to share. And I saw my friends sort of run off into the ocean, and that's not the way that the big flaming guy went. So I'm assuming they'll hopefully come back here sooner or later. And I think at least one of them probably has. Well, to be honest, they probably just have more bread and jerky. But I'd be more than happy to sit in here and break bread with you for a minute.
And she says, "Well, I'm mighty obliged. Let me offer something of my own to this repast." And a hand reaches into the kind of layers of shawls, and then pulls out a bottle of the most kind of sparkling wine you have ever seen. It seems almost to glow with a touch of starlight as she sets it down on a stump.
Whoa! Well, all right. Well, if we're gonna be playing tricks, then I gotta do my part too. And so Mulch sort of goes over to back down towards the beach, and he finds sort of the soggiest bit of shoreline where it's kind of more mud flat than sand, and he just lays out right into the muck. And I'm once again going to sort of call out through the muck, and I'm going to try and summon any clams that are nearby. See if I can just get them to come on up for me.
Worms and clams. I love it.
Beautiful.
I love it.
Summon clams. Okay, yeah. So this is your Wild Ways move, your special Wayfinder ability.
Yeah.
You have an understanding with wild animals. When you approach an animal with suitable respect, it sounds like that's your prostration is the respectful gesture towards the clams. Tell a story of the journey and roll plus true. Okay, it could be just just a brief glimpse of a story of the journey, just as I have my eye on the time here. But
yeah, totally.
A sense of that, and then roll plus true.
One of my playbook stories is how you recognize that you were lost and what led you out of twisted places. And so I think I'm going to say this has actually happened once or twice previously on the journey, that Mulch has been separated from the other people, and every time he has made it back safe because of somebody else. Somebody else took pity on him, or he was able to find some sort of agreement. But it was always these sort of moments of kindness that helped him through. But he's basically learned well, you just do the best you can, and eventually the rest of the gang will hopefully show up.
Yeah.
So that's his attitude about it. It's just well, might as well enjoy a meal with this ditch lady I just found.
Yeah, it's a nice ditch friend.
Yeah.
Make a roll plus true for reaching out to the clams.
All right. We got 2d6 plus 1. Rolling. I got a 12.
Nice.
The creature
12
acts
total.
as you wish. So like you are rolling in clams here.
I like the idea that he's lying in the muck and he is like pushed upward by this mound of clams that comes up underneath him. And does my ditch friend have a name? Names.
Do you ask her name?
Yeah.
She says, "Well, once they called me Ellen Terry, the Star Queen, but now I suppose you can just call me Ellen."
I was gonna say that seems a little grandiose for me, but I think I could be friends with an Ellen. I don't know if I'm in a position where I should be befriending any queens. That seems a little above my station. But it's a pleasure to meet you, Ellen.
All right. It feels like we are rapidly approaching sharing a meal. I would love to get our other companions on screen for that. Like, it feels like it might be good to bring the gang together. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say my pitch was, as they're like rushing around to find me and hoping that I wasn't destroyed by the hunter, they find me and I'm just cooking up a big pot of clams with this lady in the ditch.
If we need to cover a lot of ground fast, I do have the gift of a horse calling spell tattooed on my arm.
Oh, interesting. So I was going to say, oh, that feels like more useful on land, than on a ship. On the other hand, of course, there's nothing there that says it has to be land horses.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So give me a sense of what happens when you bring this gift into play. Like, how does that go?
It's a bit of a rusty spell, seeing as how I haven't used it in quite some time. But I go ahead and do the whole incantation that I just happen to. It's a little smudged, it's a little runny, but it seems to be working. And then all of a sudden, there's this rush of water sound, and we look behind us on the ship, and there's just this massive horse-like creature, you might say,
Nice.
approaching, made of purely of water. But
oh, wonderful!
But it seems to be it's like the water is dense enough that we could definitely still manage to ride on it. Yes, we're gonna get completely soaked through, but it'll work.
This is great. And then I just want to know
if I may. We're in this boat, right? We have no way to steer this boat or control this boat, so we're sort of being dragged around a lot, and it's at that point, of course, that Mandy Many Names brings forth the water horses for us to ride back to land. And as that's happening, I'd like to name a burden.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly worried about Mulch. Because this is not the first companion that we've lost.
Right.
And I have a deep burden for that companion lost. Folio, the bodyguard, the more martial of us, who will not be making his way back to the Amber Fields.
I always love it when that moment comes when you realize, wait, there were more of us when we set out, and that's part of the unspoken burden that we're carrying.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I can't lose another friend. I can't lose another companion.
Is that the name of the burden? Can't lose another one?
I think that's probably it. Yes.
Yeah, that's beautiful. At Dulwyn, you with the spyglass are the only one that can see the ghostly ships that are kind of seemingly kind of like there are more and more of them in this water. Are you like trying to like get the others to steer around them? Like, what is your approach to the fact that there are these spectral sailors out there?
I think I'm the only one that could see them because they're haunting. I think they're haunting like me specifically because I've got this
stolen spyglass.
I've got the stolen spyglass, and they can tell it's stolen. To which I'm going to like back up a little bit. So are we riding on these like water horses, or were the water horses like going to be pulling the boat to shore? I was a little unclear.
Oh, good
of
question. My impression was maybe that the water horses were pushing you guys in the boat. Does that track with what you were thinking?
Oh yes.
All right.
It's just the force of them pushing is definitely splashing us and soaking
Okay.
the entire boat.
Oh yeah.
So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the prow of the boat, and I am going to, I'm going to, like, again, looking through the haunted spyglass, because that's what I need to use to actually see these ghosts. And I'm going to try to beseech the ghosts to please let us alone, because I pledge to return the spyglass to its rightful owner.
Oh man. If we were playing for another hour, I would have you roll for that. But given the time we're at, I think what that gets you right is like, you see the like ghost ships start to dissipate through the spyglass, but then a voice sounds like right in your ear. See that you uphold your pledge, burglar. So like you've your terms have been deemed acceptable by kind of spirits that want to be clear they're going to hold you to them. Does that sound good?
Fair enough. I love it.
All
I think
right.
at that point Mandy would just go, "What is he talking about?"
Right, because you haven't like clued anybody in about the specters
would
you're
I?
seeing. Yeah.
Is he okay?
I can never
I
tell.
love it.
All right.
Oh, it's just Elwyn being Elwyn.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. All right. It sounds like we do have the like moment of reunion here, right? Because while there's all these clams getting prepared in a big pot, this ship comes charging aground, right? Like just like up from the shallows, borne by this the stampede of water. Comes this creaking ship bearing just three small adventurers, and from the ship you see the little gathering of Mulch and his new friend Ellen, and you can. Lumbar, you're the one who most
Oh
wants
yeah,
to not
I
lose
mean,
another
I
companion.
have tunnel vision on Mulch. I'm not paying
Yeah.
attention to anyone or anything else, basically. And so just sort of like I rush to him and to try and embrace him. I'm yelling his name. I'm like, Mulch, you get over here right now, Mulch Hunter.
Hey, Lumbar.
Don't you ever
Oh,
do that again. Don't you ever run away.
We're so glad to see you.
Listen, I'm glad to see you guys too. Honestly, that was a tough one. That thing was scary. I'm glad to see you guys come back for me so quick.
Yeah, how could we forget our dirty friend?
I think Mulch even laughs at that. He thinks it's fun. He says, "Well, we're cooking up some food if you guys want to sit down with us. This is my friend Ellen. She and I go way back. Accidentally almost jumped on her a minute ago.
Yeah, she's very hello. I didn't see you there.
Oh, sorry, Ellen. This is Dalwyn. I'd keep your valuables close. This is Lumbar. He's he's a good guy. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Mandy Many Names, but that's who I'm rolling with these days." And he looks pretty self-satisfied to tell Ellen about this. For the record, Mulch is 100% in on you absolutely being legitimate. It has never occurred to him in the slightest that you're not what you say you are.
Yeah. So Ellen says, "Mandy Many Names, you say? I recall stories of that one going back a long ways. I would have assumed she'd be a bit older by now."
Oh, I dye my hair. And I have good genetics.
Ah, very well, very well.
I see that you also like capes. We can connect about that.
She kind of, pulls close the many shawls and scarves and blankets that surround her. Um, and she says, "Well, it's a good thing you found all those clams, Mulch. This will be enough to feed not just the two of us, but your old friends as well."
And I have a secret ingredient I think I can add.
Hmm. Are you perhaps livening up the rations here, Lumbar?
That is my intention as
Mhm.
I reach into my pouch of silver sand, the ashes of
Whoa.
starfire, as I begin to spread it over the concoction of the clams.
Oh man!
Wow.
Wow.
Love it.
So Lumbar, sounds like perhaps you are going to roll to share a meal here.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
everyone can gain effects from this sharing a meal roll, but somebody needs to make it. So it's a roll plus
I'm
true.
rolling. I'm rolling it.
Yeah.
If that's cool with everybody, I got an 11.
Hey.
Hey, all right.
All right. On a hit, peace and fellowship reign at your table. You may clear a named burden. So Lumbar, one of those you can definitely clear. On a 10 plus, up to 2 more partakers may add a detail to your story of home and each clear a named burden. Oh right,
That's
yes,
right. I
this
need
is
to
a
tell the
story of
story.
home move. So let's
Yeah,
put a
yeah, yeah.
let's hear a little
Let's
story
hear
of
the
home
story of
here.
home. Exactly. As I'm telling the story of home, and I am talking about this sort of creature comfort that I secretly brought on the journey. It is this starfire, or at least the what was once starfire. There are these places in the amber fields where stars fell.
Hmm.
It's said in legend.
Hmm.
And all throughout those areas, you can find this sort of like almost salt that is sort of it's in the earth. And so many people collect it and call it, starfire. And so it's this silvery, salty, crusty sort of mineral material. And I have such a pouch. They are rare because these places are rare. But I have brought it from home, and I am telling everyone about it and how me and my old gammy spent all summer, when there still was summer, getting this pouch of
Oh,
sand
that
of
is
starfire.
wonderful. So you, Lumbar, are going to be able to clear one of your burdens.
And I think that's going to be can't lose another one. What I just named it. It feels like I found mulch again. We're sharing stories and fellowship together with the meal, and it definitely feels like I can release the breath that had been caught inside my chest once he disappeared.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I think maybe you even like notice for a moment that when Ellen, and Mulch's friend, takes a bite from the clam that you've enlivened with these ashes of starfire, there's like almost a like a glow to her for a second, and she just says, "Good clams." And for our other companions, peace and fellowship are reigning at this table, and 2 of you can also clear named burdens if you have them to clear. Let's see. I will move across the character keeper for this. Dalwyn, tell me how you're partaking in this meal, and whether you're feeling up for clearing a burden here.
Yeah, I think I am. I would like to. I am. I think I would like to try to clear burden, and I will add on to Lumbar's story of the story of home, and say, yeah, well, you're not the only one that brought a little special something all the way from home, and he he reaches into his pack and he pulls out a small metal flask and says, and he opens it up and he says, this was made from my uncle's whiskey still, made from the last made from grain that was harvested on the last harvest before the Doomslord came to power. This is the last of the good stuff. And I've been taking pulls on it now and again for this journey. You probably didn't notice me because I didn't really want to share, but I feel guilty about that. And I want to, and I just want to contribute this to this feast we're having. And without taking a pull, he offers this flask around for everyone to take a pull out of.
Oh, I love that.
The old Petey, as my hand's shaking.
This is very good. Does that bejeweled goblet come out at any point during this feast?
I the player forgot about that. Yeah, I think that would. I'll like rinse it out I'll rinse the mud off of it in the, in the water from the lagoon, and yeah, maybe we'll, we'll put that. I'll put that out, and I don't know. We'll probably use it as almost like use it as some kind of like serving utensil for the for the clam chowder we've made.
Your chalice of clam chowder. Here you are.
Your bejeweled chalice of clam chowder. Amazing. Yeah, Mulch. Like, how is this playing out for you? This feast you get to be part of.
I think. I mean, he is just very pleased at how this is. This is like. I feel like for him, this is definitely the first time in a long time that things have felt like home. Everything has been so hard leading up to like the climactic battle, and they've just kind of been rushing to try and get home and feeling in danger. And so I think he is also, if it's okay, can he remove a burden as well?
Yeah, I guess the one thing to check is, Mandy, are you kind of hankering to remove a burden, or are you cool with Mulch clearing the burden here? Because there's I think we're like hitting the max there on the number of companions that can clear a burden from one meal.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, you have the burden, the stolen identity of a folk hero, and it feels like you're going to be carrying that for a little bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Awesome.
I
still get a sense of how you're participating in the meal, but it sounds like Mulch, you have the go ahead to clear a burden.
I think just having this sense of like, here they are, like meeting with a stranger and sharing food and just like having a good night, on the beach. I think he is able to sort of move past that the fear he has of like losing status in his community, that like in the future, like he won't be respected in the community because there will be more magic in the world and all this stuff. I think he's able to recognize like this is all he wants out of his, his time back at home, is like just to be with people that, just want goodness for each other and are, willing to share food and, share, like surprise each other with good things and all that. And so he sort of lets go of that anxiety he has about like, well, what will this all mean for my family and me going forward? He's just like, it'll be okay. People will be kind to each other. We'll have food.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm going to clear that burden. The other burden I have still is the envy of the companions, which in a weird way, I feel like that's definitely still a going concern. And in some ways, I feel like he's a little embarrassed that they came back for him, in a way, where he's like, okay, well, you came all the way back and here I am still, just not really helping, just being an inconvenience to you guys again. So, yeah.
But you got all those clams. Okay, but I love that. One burden cleared. There's still
Yeah.
this burden. That seems like absolutely kind of emotionally true for the character.
Yeah.
Mandy, many names. How do we see you participating in this shared feast?
I feel honestly, okay, could I add a burden?
Yes, of course, because anytime you have a quiet moment, you can name a burden.
Well, in that case, I will name a burden because I think that for some reason, maybe it's just the stress of everything that just happened, Mandy suddenly realizes, I don't know who I am. I've been pretending to be this folk hero for so long. I have no idea who the real me is.
Right.
And I don't know how I'm ever going to figure that out. So that's the burden I will name.
Oh man.
That's really good.
That's really something. And I think you catch Ellen kind of like looking at you like almost like she understands somehow, what that feeling is you're feeling. But then, if you like try to catch her eye, she like turns back to the clam chowder.
And of course, I will eat a copious amount of clam chowder because it's been a long journey.
Oh yeah, got to fortify yourselves. This is great. So here's my thinking. I think we've reached what feels like a very kind of like nice button for the the session we've gotten to play of Back In from the Broken Land, and I feel like doing the whole epilogue mechanic might be overkill. But I will kind of like just chat through a little bit what epilogue looks like, because like when these characters eventually make it home, presumably after some more dangers and some more kind of scenes like this one of grappling with everything they're carrying, they would get the chance to tell stories of growth, stories of amends, or stories of isolation, depending on the burdens they're still carrying, right? If you've cleared all your burdens, you tell stories of growth. Actually, everyone tells one story of growth, and if you've cleared all your burdens, you tell two stories of growth. If you have named burdens still, you have to tell stories of amends as well when you come home. And for any unnamed burdens you're still carrying, things you haven't actually been able to name or confront along the way, you tell a story of isolation, and that kind of adds these all add different details to the homecoming and kind of together fill in our picture of what it looks like for these adventurers to finally be back in their hometown. But in lieu of that, I think I just want to say, we kind of end on this image of the companions gathered around the clam bake, and as the sun goes down, the whiskey is flowing, and so is that bottle of star-like wine that Ellen had produced, and we see kind of perhaps even a toast raised. Lumbar, what do you think the toast might be for the
Oh
group of
yeah,
companions?
oh totally. The toast, of course, is to the constellation above us as the stars come out and the sun goes down. To
Hmm.
Will Warren, the butterfly, who is their wings are sparkling above us, shielding us and calling us home.
That's awesome. All right. Well, this has been Back Again from the Broken Land. Thank you
Yay.
all for playing, and thank you for watching, folks, in the stream. I'll drop into the chat one more time the link for where you can get the game. This is a game that was kickstarted last year and is now becoming available, not only for Kickstarter backers, but for others to order in PDF or physical form. To my wonderful players, thank you once more. And will you go around and give a last plug for anything you want to promote, or just give a farewell to our wonderful viewers? Character keep order one more time. Mike, kick us off.
Well, thanks, Alexi, for giving us this game and for running this game. I really enjoyed it. I thought this was I really had a whole lot of fun. Thanks to the other players, I just really enjoyed playing with all of you. Hope we can again at some point in the future. Thanks. I just had a blast.
Wonderful.
I don't really have anything to plug. Just thank you.
Wonderful to have you, Cow. Turning to you. Any last words?
Yeah, I'm Cowshay. I'm on Twitter, Instagram. I don't know, Letterboxd, the only good website. Yeah, I just to echo Mike, I just had a lovely night with you all, and I'm so glad we got to play this excellent game. And I mean, I'm on the West Coast, so I have the advantage, but I could just keep playing this all night. It's so lovely, and I've had such a good time. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Ken. What do you have to plug?
Totally. Well, thank you, Alexi, for running this game. Thanks to the fellow players. You are all amazing. This was fantastic. Thanks to everyone who was watching it. And thanks to our producer, who's amazing as well. And you haven't seen him because he's so amazing.
Yes.
Pay
Many
no
thanks.
attention to the person behind the screen.
I am Ken Breeze. My pronouns are he, him. You can find me on Twitter and follow all my adventures at Burling's Beard. I am a TTRPG producer, narrative designer, and GM for hire in New York City. I'm currently working with a clinical psychiatrist to provide therapeutic game groups for teenagers on the spectrum. I'm also working with a educational not-for-profit called DreamYard to create a after-school module series using the Cypher system. It's going to come out this July. Very much looking forward to that. And I do have a lot of podcast episodes. If you want to listen to more diceless, DM-less games or storytelling games, Alexi was on the podcast many times, ran great Soul Train Robbery for us. It is called Board Ghost, and you can find that online. Thanks again, everybody.
Wonderful. Last but not least, Brianna, give us your closing plugs.
Sure. I'm Brianna Beard. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Unlikely Beard. No relation to the other beard, just happens to be that way. And I also had such a fun time. This was great. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thanks to everyone who played, and thank you all for watching too. Can't if you don't have watchers, why? No, I'm kidding.
Fantastic. Thank you again to players and audience alike. Oh, I should do my closing plugs. I'm Alexi. I am the designer behind Cloven Pine Games. With my wife Leah, I created this game back again from the Broken Land. Very excited to be now delivering back again from the Broken Land to folks who are interested in it. You can find out all about this game and the other games I do by looking up Cloven Pine Games on Twitter at Cloven Pine Games, on itch.io under Cloven Pine Games. Subscribe to my Substack where I have a monthly game design newsletter. Cloven Pine Games is the name for all of that. And I should thank one last time Gary Con for having us on. Wonderful to get to be part of the programming and have a wonderful time at the convention. Everyone who's there in person or is playing digitally over the coming days. And thanks once more to the sponsors of Gary Con: Ultra Pro, Hero Forge, The Crafty Gamer, Dwarven Forge, Steam Forged Games, Level Up Dice, Idle Champions, and Warriors of Waterdeep. And last of all, thanks to our amazing producer who stepped in at the last moment to provide technical assistance to help make this all happen. Thank you, Tony. You've been wonderful.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye, everybody.
Good.
Have a good
Bye,
night.
folks.
Enjoy the con.